Have you guys ever had a bad experience with moderators or staff members on Toontown servers? Because I've had some experiences from multiple servers. Rewritten especially, Toontown Fellowship, ODS, Toontown Offline, and even Corporate Clash. I've had pretty not good experiences with even just the staff members in that server, really. And it's actually a really common thing to be banned or warned or anything from a Toontown server and have your appeal not get accepted, have your appeal denied. And I've noticed a very big change in Corporate Clash's moderation and staff. How they've been giving out more harsh bans, warnings for things that don't need warnings, instant bans. It's for when they really shouldn't be doing it. They're just giving out, some examples would be like giving out instant bans for when only a warning is necessary. Giving a warning for saying something that other people say all the time that doesn't give those people warnings. I don't really know what's been happening, but Corporate Clash's moderation system has really been going downhill, and it's actually not very good. I know quite a few people who have actually stopped playing the game because the staff and the moderators just haven't been, I guess, what they used to be. They're just not treating their players with as much respect as they really should be. They're turning into TTR, essentially. And a lot of people left TTR because they didn't like the people who were working on it. And now since Clash is working on TTR, they're going to start leaving Clash. Is starting to act like TTR. The people who moved from TTR to Clash are now going to stop playing Clash and won't have much else anymore. You remember that video I made about one of my friends who got warned, or actually got banned from the game and Discord for trying to warn them about a security flaw in the system? Yeah, their appeal did not get accepted. And now that they're trying to like really fix it, they're not getting any response. They're not getting any response from mods. All their appeals are getting denied. And the best part is that the security flaw hasn't even been fixed yet. It's still there. A week or so ago, he showed me it. The person showed me it. And he was able to show that the security flaw is still there. So they haven't fixed it yet. There's still a security flaw that this person tried to show them. They didn't do anything about it. Instead, they banned him for reasons I can't even remember anymore. Banned him permanently. They didn't even give him a warning. They said banning him for leaking stuff, which I guess fine. I guess leaking stuff does warrant a ban, but not in the game. It warrants a ban in the Discord, and not permanently, just a little bit. Because he doesn't have any past infractions. I don't think he does, at least. Even if he did, fine, ban him from the Discord, but don't ban him from the game. He literally did not break any rules in the game. He did send a picture of the loading screen, but that doesn't prove he was in the game. It's just a picture of the loading screen. It could have been he could have gotten that picture from anywhere. But then here we are, that person now banned. The security flaw is still there. People can now take advantage of the security flaw who know what the security flaw is. And I'm not advanced enough to actually understand how it works. There's someone I know who was banned from the Discord for using a third-party software on Discord called Better Discord, which is against Discord TOS. So of course, if you're breaking Discord TOS, then a server is obligated to ban you from that server because the server owner could get in trouble for not taking action against that. So they were banned from the Corporate Clash Discord server a while ago for having Better Discord. And as soon as they realized that they should get rid of it, they did get rid of it, but at the same time, they were banned from the server. So it took a couple of months for them to get back into the game. And they appealed like every week. They sent in an appeal, was always denied, and always saying, "I'm not going to do it again. I deleted it. I'll show you that I deleted everything." The mods never let him back into the server until eventually he was finally able to get back. They were finally able to get back into the server. So it's like, what is the point of having an appeal system if the person is telling you, "I'm not going to do it again. I'm sorry." Saying, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it again. I've gotten rid of it, and it's never going to be a problem again," and they still deny it? Like, what's the point of having an appeal system if you're not even going to allow people to appeal? And not only the appeal system, but like just the mods themselves. I do receive a few DMs from certain mods where I don't want to explain the story because it's a little hard for me to talk about it. But sometimes a mod will DM me about a certain situation in the game, and it kind of feels like they're threatening me or attacking me almost, which is not a good thing. That is not a good thing. You never want a moderator to be attacking their player base, or at least threatening them in any way, especially if they're not actually doing that bad of things. I guess I'll give you a little context. I was doing a glitch and I showed it to the Discord, and a moderator was telling me to have to log off and stuff like that. And the way the conversation went, it really just felt like I was being threatened by them, and I didn't feel good afterward. And a lot of the time, the moderators seem to have this, I guess, tone. I don't know how to say it, but of course you can't really have a tone while you're typing. But when you try to say something, I guess, wrong that they did, I don't want to say wrong as in it was actually bad. This is, wrong. They will try to cover that up in a way that makes the person who said that they did something wrong not feel good about it. And I'm it has happened to me before, and I'm like, when they responded to me like that, I'm like, you don't have to be rude about it. You could have just corrected me in a kind way. You don't have to be all rude about it. But of course, I don't think they were being that rude. I could just be overreacting, but that's how I felt when they responded to me like that. And I'm like, okay, so next time just don't. I don't know. It makes me wonder if I should even do that again, because if I don't want that to happen again, because I just didn't feel good after it happened. And so mod applications open back up. So I'm like, hey, this is a perfect opportunity for me to become a moderator on a Toontown game. So and also because I was thinking, if I become a moderator, maybe I can perhaps do better than what I've been seeing the other moderators do. So if I join them, I've included this in my application. I didn't say I could do better than the moderators, of course, but I included in my application, I can treat the players with more respect. With respect, I can treat all players equally, make sure that people who have been doing bad things are brought to justice, and people who did something bad but had never done something bad before are given some kind of infraction, but not an instant ban, like how these other people have been. And I made like a really big application and stuff, and the response I got from the lead moderator was that my skill set doesn't comply with what they look for, and that is not specific. That is not specific at all. So I responded to the email saying, okay, so what do you want me to work on? If I know what I'm supposed to work on, then I can start working on it, and the next time the mod application is open, I'll be prepared. I never got a response. And so I'm like, okay, so something tells me that you just don't want me in your team. For personal reasons. Not because you didn't like my application, but you literally just don't want me in my team. You don't have an answer to give me. So I'm going to assume that the answer is something that you don't want me to know. So that answer is probably you don't want me in your team for personal reasons. Which again is not good. TTR already does stuff like that, where they pick favorites of certain people that they like. So when that person kind of breaks the rules, they don't do anything about it. But when someone else that they don't know very well does break the rules, that person gets a punishment. And that's something that happened to me. A lot of the staff members on TTR don't like me. So when they find me doing something bad, they're going to take advantage of that and put an infraction on my account. And considering the fact that on my Clash application, I put on like pretty much a lot of useful stuff for a moderator to have. I'm a team player. I'm a team leader. I'm able to calm down certain situations when things get bad, and I never like it when people do bad things from malicious intent, which is basically the traits you need to have as a moderator. And how I've played Corporate Clash for a long time, I'm aware of the changes that they've made on the game. That I'm experienced with the game. I'm 134 laugh. I'm experienced with the game. I know almost all of the changes they made. Maybe a few minor things that I wasn't aware about, but that really shouldn't matter. And so then when they tell me that my skills don't comply, I'm like, so what do you want me to work on? Because I don't know what exactly I can improve. Considering I made this up, I don't know what exactly I can improve on to uh, fit your application to fit your requirements. Since they're not telling me what I can improve on, that means that I probably won't have a shot next time because I won't be prepared next time. I wouldn't have improved on anything since that time. I've been starting to think to myself, maybe there was something I said in the application that they're like, oh, we don't want that. If I had simply not put that, whatever that thing is, in the application, then maybe I would have been fine. Which, of course, working off of one single thing being the reason why you're not hiring someone is really inaccurate. Because say someone has really good traits, but one trait disagrees completely with what you want, I mean, they'll be useful for, like, everything else that you agree with, right? Just, you know, it really just seems like whenever you're trying to, I guess, prove the moderators or staff members wrong, they're just going to simply not respond to you. That is their basically their way of covering up any mistakes they make. So it's like, okay, well, no, we banned him correctly, so we're not going to get him back. So this is not, we'll just ignore him, which is really not the way we're supposed to do it. And honestly, when it comes to a game like TTR is actually good at responding to appeals. Whether or not they actually read your appeal, they're actually good at responding to them. Well, what I've been seeing with Corporate Clash so far is that they're not even taking the time to respond. They're just leaving it out there. Where TTR, again, actually responds to it. Whether or not the response is actually genuine, at least they actually gave you a response. So going back to that thing where my friend was banned for the security flaw and stuff, one of the moderators actually did DM me saying that that person released a model of the CLO, so therefore this person is not innocent. And I responded and that they were very hurt that they did that. And I understand, of course, it would probably be hurt if someone leaked the boss that was supposed to be remain hidden until they actually saw it in game. So then I responded saying, well, he did that thing in Discord, and Poppy has said himself that you can't ban people in the Discord. We can't ban people in the game for things that happen in the Discord, and vice versa. And when I sent him that, they didn't even respond. I didn't get a single response from him. So I'm like, okay, yeah. So then he tells me that you just don't want to respond to me. And trust me, when I ask staff members other things that are just simply just normal questions, yeah, they'll answer those. But when it comes to things like ban appeals and stuff like that, or other people trying to send them ban appeals, they're not responding to it, or they're just completely denying it. I really have to add that people are currently having like the biggest problem with the lead moderator of the game, and I'm pretty sure most of you know who this is. So, and because most of the bans that I've seen on people came from the lead moderator. In fact, the lead moderator was the same person who keeps denying my friend's appeal to get back into the game due to the security flaw thing. So again, the lead moderator. When I hear all this stuff, it's actually kind of hard for me to play the game. Go on the Discord server, or even just think about it, really, because of what's happening behind the curtains. The moderation team, the staff team. And it's like playing the game reminds me of these unfair things that are happening, and it makes me lose the spirit for playing the game, even though I have not yet been banned from this game or given an unfair punishment in any way. Just hearing other people experience that demotivates me from playing the game. Like, this is getting so bad that some people have actually been starting to compare it to corrupt parts of the American justice system. Now, I'm not going to say whether or not I agree with that. I'm just pointing that out, that people have actually been starting to do that. And I have not seen that comparison be used for TTR staff. But now that you think about it, maybe it could be used for it. So as I said, I try to make things better by applying to be a moderator so that when I do become a moderator, I can, be more easygoing. And when someone breaks the rules, I'll just be like, hey, this is a verbal warning, don't do that. Instead of being like, you're instant banned for doing this small thing. Never do it again, never play the game ever again. So it makes me laugh thinking about it sometimes. Or if I see someone has said 69 in Clash, I think, even though they say it all the time in the Discord, and they received a warning for that. And if I see people if I was a moderator and I see people in the Discord use it all the time, I'm like, okay, whatever. People in Discord use it all the time. There's no reason to get mad at him for using it then. But that's not what happened. They gave him a warning. So I tried to do good in the way and how I noticed this bad stuff happening by applying to be moderator, and they didn't want me in there for, I guess, personal reasons. I don't know. They're not responding to the emails I sent them about what I need to work on, so I know next time. Maybe they don't want me to be moderator next time, so they're not going to tell me what I need to work on. That way, if I don't work, if I won't know what to work on, next time it opens up, I won't be able to apply. Now, this could just be bad timing and stuff like that, but this has been happening for like a lot of people who have been trying to appeal bans. Most of them are just getting denied or not even responded to at all. Someone actually tried to direct message the lead moderator about the situation as well, and he didn't get a response either. And the lead moderator was the one who gave me the email about that my skills don't comply. So I'm starting to see a pattern here. I'm sure you are too. But if this keeps going on, then they're basically going to prove that they are no better than the people behind TTR. And I know a lot of the staff members don't really agree with the way TTR works on their game either, or even moderates it. But with this going on, it's really showing that they really are no better than the TTR staff. That if Clash does fail, then they really are going to show that even the most unique of Toontown servers can't survive longer than, like, say, 3 years. And the only reason Toontown had written can is because it was the first server to come out, so that's obviously going to be the most successful one. But if Clash, considering the fact that a lot of old servers have closed, like Toontown Infinite, Toontown House, Toontown Relived, and I guess ODS hasn't closed yet, but I don't even know if people even play that anymore. And if Clash closes too, yeah, again, they're just showing that like it's impossible for a decent Toontown server to survive more than 3 years without something going downhill and just ultimately just ending. And so I say this. If Clash wants to make their player base more happy, they need to get their act up on this, because seriously, it is stupid that this even is something I have to be talking about. Like, seriously, I should not have to be talking about this right now. Just, I don't know, listen to your player base, unban people who don't deserve to be banned, and actually respond to people who have concerns. And this wouldn't even be a problem anymore. I really shouldn't have to be talking about this. I don't talk about TTR because everyone knows about it, but I really have to talk about it when it comes to Clash, because I didn't think Clash would actually get here, but I was very wrong about that. I didn't think Clash would go down like this. I thought it would be better than this. I thought they would be able to catch the toxicity that rises within, but they don't. With Universal Studios, on the other hand, I have yet to experience a bad staff moment with Universal Studios. Because what I've seen with all these other Toontown servers, I'm starting to get worried that Universal is going to go down that path too. I really hope it doesn't. But so I'm hoping that making these videos will allow people to really see the light and stop this from happening. Because we already have Universal Studios not doing this stuff. I don't want them to start doing this stuff. I know a lot of the staff members, they're all really nice, but things could change. In fact, when I first heard about Universal Studios, I thought it was just going to die immediately. I didn't think it was all that impressive. But then I learned more about it, I started playing it, and I actually thought it was a really cool server. And I was really wrong about that. The exact opposite with Clash. I thought Clash was going to do really well the whole time. That's just gone downhill. I thought Universal Studios was going to fail. I was wrong about that too. But now that we've talked about the moderation, I might also say that not just the moderation, because as I said previously in this video, it's not just the moderation; it's some of the bit of the other staff too. I don't have very many examples of this, but it really just seems like a lot of the other staff members, just on other departments, are incompetent in their work, just like pretty much all of the TTR staff members, except most of the ones who left, of course. I recently heard that a lot of the moderators were let go by the current staff around the time 1.1 launched. I don't know why, and that might also be the reason why their mod app reopened. I don't have the full story on that, so don't ask me questions on it. But one thing I really wanted to point out when I brought up the staff thing is that if you're in the Discord server, you would know that they do this thing with a monthly contest, right? A lot of the contests that they held have not been organized very neatly. Like the last one they did at the time of me uploading this video, the last contest was a fashion show where you had to take a picture of your tune during a certain fashion. There was no category, so that was a little bit more difficult for people. And so when the voting time was finally there, they were organized. I don't really think they were organized in a very organized way. Like they were, if you saw it, then you would know that they were basically each picture. There was like I think like 6 groups of pictures, and each group had 12 pictures, about 12 pictures on them. And due to the fact that it was all just a collage, each group was a collage of those pictures. All the pictures were actually really small. So my experience in me voting for these submissions was I didn't even know what I was voting for. I can't even see what I'm looking. Most of the time I couldn't even see whose tune I was looking at. I couldn't tell what they were wearing. I was like, okay, that one looks pretty nice. And let's see that one too, and that one. And when I went to mine, I was thinking like, at this angle, it really doesn't look like much, or at this size, I guess it really doesn't look like much. But if you really were to understand the context of the style, I guess, and have it be bigger, then people would probably notice it more. If you're wondering, my tune was Jake Cheesy Marble. He was wearing a dress as a male tune, and so that was my caption. I was wearing something about me wearing a dress as a male tune. Every person who submitted one was required to put a caption on their style, but none of the captions were actually present during the voting period, which I feel like if the captions were there, that would have altered the votes a little bit, because the captions can also be a good defining feature of certain images. And a lot of people have been arguing that when it comes to these contests, due to the fact that the whole community, at least the whole Discord server, is able to vote on them, it really just comes down to more of a popularity contest, not much of who did the best work. Because, I don't really know. Because I guess it's due to the fact that your peers are voting for their peers and stuff, there's obviously going to be some flaw in there where a lot of people are just going to vote for their friends. And it happened to me too. People were just voting for me because they're my friend. I'm voting for them because I'm their friend. Sometimes they completely disregard how good it is, and they just vote for them because they're friends. So that's why people were saying, why not just have the staff team, just vote themselves? But then it also comes to the point where, what if there's some people on the staff team who are biased too? So then it's like the contests just don't seem to work the way that they're intended to. And so due to the fact that it's a popularity contest, those who actually did a really good job could probably lose due to the fact that maybe they're not well known in the community or something like that, that someone who actually deserved to win doesn't win because it's a popularity contest. Let's say maybe Smirky made a submission, and everyone knows Smirky made the submission. They're all gonna vote for Smirky, no doubt. Most of the people are just gonna vote for Smirky's submission, and he's gonna win the first try. So, of course, that's more of a hardcore example because Smirky is one of the most popular Toontown YouTubers, where most of the Toontown YouTubers don't even participate in the contest. But still, that is still an example that Smirky could participate in this contest, and almost everyone will just vote for him because he's Smirky. At least there could be some people who actually understand that the popularity contest, so they're gonna try to not vote for the person they like the most. And so instead of voting for the one that they like the most, they would vote for... Instead of voting for the person they like the most, they would vote for the submission they like the most. Again, it's not based off the person, it's based off the submission. That's the point of these contests. But It's really just becoming more of a popularity contest. And a lot of people have been saying this in the Discord server, and it doesn't seem like much of the criticism is really going through. And speaking of criticism, there's also a lot of people who believe that the tech team or the creative team and all that stuff don't listen to criticism either. It's not just the contest that's the problem here. Now, I don't have many examples, but I will show a compilation of things that people have said about the moderation team, them not listening to criticism, just the staff team in general. That there's just tons of problems that people are having with the team, even if it's not even related to moderation, that they really need to get their act together. Like, seriously. If they want their game to be successful, they need to get their act together. The higher-ups maybe need to realize this, talk to the people who are causing this toxicity, and put a stop to it. Because if this keeps happening, then it's never gonna get better. The only reason TTR is doing so well with this toxicity is because they were the first server to come out, and so therefore they're never going to lose any players. It's really starting to feel like they're just abusing their powers as mods or staff members just so they can do what they want in the game or treat people how they want to be treated because they're looking for some sort of power. Which isn't how you're supposed to moderate a game. That's the exact opposite of what a moderator is supposed to do. Moderators are supposed to be higher for basically the exact opposite, for dealing with people who need to be dealt with, fairly punishing people, treating people equally, and overall just being an authentic human being. Now, as I talk about these complaints, I am probably going to get multiple DMs from certain moderators, staff members, who you know who, that are probably going to try to defend themselves or something like this, or just try to talk about this video in some way. I might ignore them, because due to the fact they've been ignoring these appeals, ignoring these emails and stuff like that, maybe I should do the same to them and ignore any DMs they have about the video. Unless I actually find what they say to be important, then I probably will not try to respond to them. Because seriously, if they're not going to take these appeals and emails seriously, maybe I shouldn't take what they have to say seriously either. Alright? It's just really stupid. Remember, if you want to have a successful game, you need to have good moderators. And that doesn't mean moderators who just ban anyone that they think should be banned. They give people instant bans for doing the smallest thing. They need to be moderators who actually know how to moderate a game. That way the game can actually survive. If a game without moderators, unless it was meant to have no rules, then a game without moderators is like probably one of the worst games that could possibly exist. It doesn't matter how good the game itself is, if there are no moderators and there are meant to be rules in the game, really bad things are going to start happening. Now, Clash does have moderators, but it's really not the kind of moderators you want to be looking for. Now, of course, TTR is worse by a long shot, but still, if this isn't dealt with soon, it could actually get worse than TTR. Where someone actually could probably get banned for just saying something without any malicious intent. To the point where it's like, I actually would question whether or not TTR would even do something like this. Now, a lot of people could be like, that it's impossible to be worse than TTR, but still, it's a potential possibility that if this isn't dealt with, it'll only get worse and worse. I mean, it started off pretty good, and now it's only gotten worse from there, so the chances of it getting worse is pretty likely, don't you think? It's like an airborne virus. The situation we're all living in right now, if it's not dealt with by, like, pretty much the whole world, it's only going to get worse and worse and worse until eventually everyone is infected with the virus, to the point where I guess if everyone's infected with the virus, then I guess it can't spread anymore. But it'll take a really long time for everyone to get the virus. That it's just going to start building up and up and up until eventually, yes, everyone has gotten the virus. And you don't want every single human to get the virus. Especially with the virus that we're dealing with now, that can kill people. You know, that's really bad. The worse the virus gets, the more people are going to die. And so the worse that the moderation team gets, the more people that'll get banned, the more people that'll get upset, the more people that they'll lose. Like, you guys know what happened with TTR. A few people actually left the team because of how much they didn't like the team. And that could actually start happening in Corporate Clash. If people in the team realize what's going on, they could leave as well, and then leaving most of their team empty, depending on how many people actually left. But again, it happened with TTR, considering the fact that people who were part of the TTR staff realized the problem and left. It's pretty likely that at least one person in Corporate Clash will realize the problem, hopefully share it around with people, and then leave because they can't handle it anymore. Just like what JJ and Sheriff Cranky did. They left because they didn't like the people who were there. And along with leaving, they also told us certain things that were happening behind the scenes that we didn't know about that is negative towards the TTR team, but it's still important for us to know because it's stupid. So I'll say one more time, the more this goes on, the worse things will get. And if you don't do anything about it, again, the worse it will get. They need to improve the situation or else nothing is going to go right for the team anymore. I mean, a lot of people don't like TTR because of this, and you're just going to turn it into TTR. And considering the fact that way less people play Corporate Clash than TTR, the ratio of people who like the game and people who don't like the game is probably more than TTR's ratio of people who like the game, people who don't like the game. Because like you could probably get like 5,000 people in TTR maximum maybe, where Corporate Clash only gets about 500. That's 10 times. That's a 10 times difference. So if you lose a significant amount of, let's say, take this math example, I guess. If TTR loses, say, 100 people, that's like nothing compared to 5,000. Where if Corporate Clash loses 100, that is literally a fifth of their player base. If their player base was just composed of 500, which isn't true, because I think at one point like 800 were on at one point, but still, 100 is a lot compared to about 500, and 100 is like not really anything compared to 5,000. So if Corporate Clash loses a lot of people, then they're actually going to experience a bigger loss than TTR did, considering they have a lot less people than TTR already. The loss is only going to be more significant than TTR's. Now, compared to how many people are actually play those games, 500 and 5,000 could actually be rookie numbers. Maybe TTR did claim to have 1 million accounts a few years ago, and while most of those accounts are probably alt accounts or people who stopped playing the game, they've probably gotten a lot more since then. And Corporate Clash, maybe, I don't actually know, maybe 5,000 accounts maybe would be probably an accurate rough estimate. So again, if they were to lose, say, 500 people, or just 100 people again, 100 is barely anything compared to a million. Well, 100 is still not much compared to 5,000. It's still a very big difference between the loss of 100 from a million and the loss of 100 from 5,000. So even if it's not that big of a change, it's still much more significant than TTR's loss. And again, if it keeps getting worse, then that loss in players will only keep getting bigger, and that's not good for the game. And it's also currently like one of the only Toontown servers I play. So if things do start to get worse, then what? I guess Universal Studios it is, because that's all the only Toontown server I'm gonna have. I play other games, of course, but Toontown, I'm banned from TTR. If this keeps going on in Corporate Clash, then I can't play that. Then I probably won't want to play that anymore. Universal is probably the purest server I've known so far that hasn't had an incident like this yet, but it's still bound to happen because of how literally almost all the other servers have had an incident like this at least once. Again, ODS, Fellowship, Toontown Offline, Toontown Unwritten, even Corporate Clash that a lot of people thought had the most potential, but yet were proven wrong by the situation. And also, let me say, a lot of people thought Universal didn't have a lot of potential. Now the exact opposite is showing. They seem to be doing really well. They've been improving. The only thing they've been doing so far is improving their game. And that alone should earn a lot of respect, because currently not a lot of student servers have been doing that. Rewritten is like I guess working on it, but it hasn't been showing very often. Corporate Clash did add frequent bug fixes and stuff, but compared to how often Universal Studios makes an update, Universal is really beating all the other servers on updates. So it really shows that updating your game isn't as hard as Rewritten or Corporate Clash show it to be, as Universal is updating like every other day. Okay, fine. Maybe every other day was an over-exaggeration, but you know what I mean. It feels like Universal actually is making updates more frequently than any other Toontown server I've ever seen, which is a really good improvement for any Toontown server, or Toontown in general, I guess, and and deserves a lot of respect. You really shouldn't disrespect this game. If you don't like the game, fine, you don't like the game. You don't have to start disrespecting it, which I haven't seen people disrespect it yet, but I have seen a lot of people who are saying that the game, or were acting like, I guess, the game doesn't have much potential, which isn't true. Considering the fact that they're like one of the only Toontown server that hasn't had this kind of incident yet. And if you can avoid these kind of incidents, then that really shows that your game probably is going to survive for as long as it possibly can, without dying off from drama or staff members abusing their powers or just really anything bad happening. Maybe you'll get a hacker every now and then that breaks the server, but it's not like they're gonna close down the whole game because of that. I mean, unlike Infinite that closed down 5 times, and then the 6th time they closed down permanently. Okay, I'm not gonna talk about that. But you get what I mean. So please, get your act together, start treating your player base with more respect, treat people equally, put the people who actually break rules regularly to justice, and those who barely break them and just make one minor rule break, make sure that they only get a very small infraction, because they don't deserve an insta-ban for one thing that they never got a warning for. Especially if they don't even know that they're breaking the rules. When I show you the compilation of these people talking about it, you're going to see that this person who was breaking the rules actually didn't know that what he was doing counted as breaking the rules. Yet he still got an instant ban from it, and the mods and staff members are just saying that we can't do anything about it. Even though they clearly can, they're not accepting an apology, they're not accepting the fact he won't do it again, they're not even accepting the fact that he didn't know it was against the rules. Okay, so again, no point in having an appeal system if we're not going to do anything about it. But not having an appeal system is even worse. Actually, having an appeal system and pretending it doesn't exist is worse than not having one. But still, not having one is still pretty bad. So please, get your heck together. It really shouldn't be this hard. But apparently, most of the staff members have been completely blind to the fact that all of this has been happening. And it's really dumb that the player base has to talk about it, again without the staff realizing it, that I have to go up and make a video about it just so that maybe the staff members will see it. Again, there's still not a guarantee that they'll even acknowledge anything. So there's more time. If you turn into TTR, only bad things are going to happen from that. Because your player base is insignificant. I don't want to say insignificant, but your player base is a lot less compared to TTR. So if you do turn into TTR, considering the fact that people don't like TTR because of those problems, and you're going to turn into TTR, only bad things are going to happen from that. So don't turn into TTR and actually fix these problems. So I remember when this game first came out, like the first year this game came out, everyone was so glad it was released and everything. People were having a good time, and now it's kind of starting to turn into a more toxic community, a TTR style thing. That sometimes I feel like I actually need a break from TTCC and actually switch from that to the TTR Discord. Maybe just to see more toxicity most of the time, but seriously, really toxic things can happen in that Discord sometimes, or heated arguments and stuff like that. The staff members really don't do anything about. It's a lot like these real life situations where you have like these, I don't want to say bullies, but these people who are being mean to you, but are doing it in a way that like hides the fact that they're being mean to you. So there isn't enough evidence to really show people that they're being mean to you. I guess it's a little bit like psychological bullying, where they're bullying you in a way that you know that they're bullying you, and you can basically tell that they know that they're annoying you, but they're hiding it well enough that you can't just go and tell someone. It's hard to explain to someone what's happening, and you can't just go report them because there isn't enough real evidence to really. There isn't a good enough explanation you can really give to someone, and again, there isn't enough evidence that this has been happening. So that is really what I'm feeling. What I feel like sometimes. I know a few people who are treated like this by some people in school, that they are being treated like, I guess, in a mean way by people. But those people who are treating them like that are hiding it well enough that their victim can tell that they're treating them like that, but they can't just go report them because it's so many little small things that when you put them together it's a lot, but so many little small things that you can't just go report them or something like that because it's really hard to really tell what's happening unless you are the person who is being treated that way. And sometimes when I see some of my friends treated like this, I want for it to stop, but I really can't because again, there's not like anything that I can really say. Like, what am I supposed to say to the person? Stop bullying me? Because then they'll say I'm not bullying you, and then I can't really go explain that they're bullying since when you say the word bullying, it really makes it seem like it's a lot worse than it really is. But like, stop treating him like they'll stop treating him like one. It's trying to be his friend. So again, even when I'm trying to explain it on video here, which sometimes makes it feel like I'm explaining it to myself, it's really hard to just explain the small stuff, the small mean things that people can do that allows them to hide the fact that they're even doing it so they don't get in trouble for it. I know someone who has been treated like this very harshly. They cry about it, and the only reason they haven't reported these people yet is that there isn't enough evidence to really report them for it. And again, it's really hard to explain what exactly they're doing because they're so good at hiding it. Which I feel like this is what's been happening with the Clash moderation since a while ago. I don't know. And TTR mods too, of course. And I don't want these real life issues to start going into a kid's game. It's a kid's game. These issues shouldn't be in a kid's game. So I asked if the staff really just rethink what's going on here. Take more criticism, actually appeal bans, don't ban people for no reason, actually give good infractions instead of just instant bans for small things. It really shouldn't be that hard. I mean, again, I applied to be a moderator specifically because of that. But they didn't accept me, and they're not even telling me why. But that's honestly all I have to say about it. I probably did repeat a few points because of just how frustrating they were to me. But I am now going to just play a compilation of certain chats on Discord of people saying certain things that really show what people think about the team. And how it's not just me who thinks this, it's a variety of other people. And if there are some things that I find after the video is uploaded, I'll just provide an image link to it in the description. So don't worry, that's probably going to get updated frequently. The more things I see, the more stuff that will be updated to it. So, but please don't attack these people because there's really no point in attacking them. We're trying to make a point here, and then you're just gonna go and attack them. Like, you really shouldn't just go and attack people for trying to make a really important point like this. And even if you disagree with it, fine, but don't go and attack them saying, "Oh, you're wrong, the worst person ever, you're ruining Clash." Okay, don't go and do that. It just makes everything worse. It really does just make everything worse. But I mainly want to show this to show that just how people feel about this, how they feel they're being treated by the staff team, and examples that the team can go by to help, maybe some examples the team can go by to help increase what they're doing. So that way the game can get better again. The players will start to appreciate the staff again. Everything will be so great and everything. I guess last thing I should point out is that I actually forgot to point out about the other staff stuff is that Break the Law, an 8-month event for Break the Law that was only meant to last like 2 months? How did this happen? How did you manage to drag out an event for 8 months that was only meant to be for like an eighth of that amount of time? The amount of that basically goes to show that 1.1 was delayed on multiple times. I don't know how many times exactly, but considering the fact that BTL was only supposed to be like 2 or 3 months long and it ended up being over twice the amount of time, maybe 3 times that amount of time, really shows that like they really were not prepared to send out 1.1. And now then it's like, which one is worse, TTR or TTCC? Because Break the Law was supposed to be going right into 1.1, but at least TTR isn't like the type of server to create an event that is supposed to last right until the new update. Because what TTR does is they just make an event that is set to end at this time. And the only reason they would ever extend it would be if there were server problems and people couldn't play the game. So then they extend it. So I guess it doesn't really make much sense to compare the two this way. And also the fact that TTR has been working on field offices for like 4 years now. You really think that like an event like BTL really shouldn't have lasted that long. I mean, the majority of 2020 was just break the law. Actually, from October 2019 to I think July of 2020, maybe like beginning of August maybe, was just break the law. While they did add like new bug fixes and stuff, break the law was basically the main event the whole time. Halloween went through it, Christmas went through it, April Tunes went through it, Thanksgiving went through it, Christmas went through it, April Tunes went through it. Literally all the holiday events happened during Break the Law. Like, it really started to get to the point where, at least myself, actually started to forget what it was like without Break the Law. That when the main menu theme finally went back to the original, it felt literally the main menu theme started to feel nostalgic to me due to how long Break the Law was going on for. And nostalgia usually isn't supposed to be like, oh, I saw this thing like a few months ago, and I see it again. That's not really what nostalgia is supposed to be like. A long time ago, like Toontown Online, long time ago. But when I first heard that main menu theme after Break the Law, I was like, this is nostalgia. Nostalgia, like in this kind of way, doesn't sound right. It really shouldn't be. And I really hope that future events that they make don't do this. They drag on for over half a year simply because of the fact that what they planned to end it off with wasn't ready for basically the entirety of the event. That people just stopped playing the game because it was all just more break the law, more defeating the witness stand-in. Once they defeated the witness stand-in like 5 times, it's like, okay, now what? And not only that, but I guess lore reasons. Break the Law in the lore was supposed to be like finally destroying the Lawbot headquarters and everything. At the very end, all that effort just went to waste by the CLO then being the new Lawbot boss, completely reforming all the Lawbots, creating new Lawbots, making a new headquarters, and overall actually being more powerful than the last Lawbots. All the effort of BTL that the Toons put into BTL was completely put to waste, with the CLO becoming the new boss. And they thought killing the witness stand-in was enough to finally end this, but no, it just made their situation worse. Having Break the Law in the lore made the situation worse. Because Break the Law, I think, is what initially caused the CJ to get fired, and then he quit. So then the witness stand-in took over. He got really pissed off, so then he starts to fight the Toons. If John, or the CJ at John, had never quit or got fired, the chairman wouldn't go looking for a new boss wouldn't have gone looking for a new Lawbot boss, and who would then just completely ruin the efforts all the Toons put in. But I'm talking too much about the lore. This isn't supposed to be about lore. This is supposed to be about real life, the real life people. So I'm gonna end it there because I really don't have much else to say. Break the Law. Oh my god, no more of that. Don't do that again. The player base, I think a lot of the player base, most of the player base just got really bored of it. No, at least TTR, when they do an event like Crash Cashbot, they will put an end date to it unless game server issues happen in which they would extend it. That's the only reason they would ever extend it. Just like how they gave us a double gag experience for when someone was DDoSing them. You know, that's generous. They're extending it because they're being generous. Where Break the Law was extended not to just give us more time for the event, but simply because the update wasn't ready yet. So, also when 1.1 launched, it took like about 24 hours for the update to actually be ready. And when it was ready, people got in, there were nothing but server crashes. And of course, CTR kind of had the same thing. It'll probably be the same exact thing when Field Offices release, but like, I mean, I don't really know what to say about that at that point. Like, maybe I'm probably just making a big deal about that one thing, because of course, managing a game in that kind of way, especially when you're trying to put it in with like 500 different people playing the game versus only like 10 developers, it's gonna be a big difference. So maybe trying to put that as a downside isn't the best, but it's still a valid point, at least from a certain point of view. But that's all I really have to say. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I think I made most of my points. Probably again repeated a lot of it. But I'll now show you the compilation that I have, and then after that, it will be the end of the video. It will be a lot, so if you don't have enough, so if it passes by, you don't have enough time to read what all the things they're saying, just pause the video. Whatever. So I'll see you guys next time, and yeah, enjoy the compilation. Please make things better. Important. Always important. Very important. So yes, thank you. Bye.